Back inside Sport Chek's flagship location at West Edmonton Mall, it's the panel. Gazzola, Stauffer, and Michael's coming at you once again as we continue with the stretch drive. And the Oilers coming off, I guess it's a learning lesson against the New York Islanders.
Islanders are a good team.
They're a good team. I mean, and they're playing really well under Doug Weight. 14-6-3 now. So, I mean, what do we make of that loss? I mean, they had won the prior 2 games. And now they're going to face 2 of the hottest teams in the league right away here.
Well, 5 of the first 6 games on this 8-game homestand is against Eastern Conference opposition. And, you know, really, you'll take a look at what Edmonton's faced. I mean, certainly against the Islanders, they run into a team, as you suggested, that has certainly been offensively reborn under Doug Weight. They've got guys like Andrew Ladd and Jason Chimera and Anders Lee scoring for them. And similarly, you know, this upcoming stretch on the homestand is against teams that are starting to round into playoff form. I mean, the Pittsburgh Penguins laid 7 against Winnipeg. It's a 6th time this year.
That was a great game to watch.
6th time this year they've scored 7 or more goals in a game. I mean, they are as offensively juiced as any team in the league. They're number 1 in goals for, and they are looking at the finish line too, because they're in a dogfight in their division right now. I mean, you could make an argument that the 4 best teams in the Metro Division might be the 4 best teams in the National Hockey League. Certainly, as we've gone around the circuit, they're 4 of the most impressive teams. You might throw Minnesota into the mix, but for my money, those 4 have all been better than Chicago from what we've seen. And then you've got Montreal on the weekend, which is no cupcake either, because they've gotten the Claude Julien bump.
Bob, what do the Oilers have to clean up going in against the Penguins? Because back in November, they were up 3-1 on the Pens and then watched that lead slip away. Fluky goal at the end to lose it, but where are the Oilers going to have to sharpen up their game?
Well, if you recall the game in November, they only had 1 line going, right? I mean, that was the night that Patrick Maroon and Connor McDavid and Jordan Eberle were on fire. Milan Lucic was playing with Leon Draisaitl. He had a tough night that night.
Pittsburgh had to get Crosby away from the McDavid matchup, as I recall.
Which again is, you know, and as Jack alluded to, the next 2 games at home, the fans are going to be absolutely stoked and jacked. I mean, you got Sidney Crosby coming in, and though the Montreal Canadiens are no longer the, you know, flying Frenchmen of yore, they're certainly nonetheless a team that travels well. So, but I think, I'm looking at the Oilers' perspective. What do they need to do here? And there's a lot of things they got to get going on.
Is it desperation? Are they still trying to figure that out? Where are we with that?
They got to be. When they get scoring opportunities, obviously they got to be sharper. They weren't sharp in that line. They're just kind of lackadaisical. And but you know what? It's an 82-game season. You're not going to be on. I'm sorry, it's just the way it works out. You're not going to be on every night. So they got to elevate the level of their performance coming up here, because as Jack mentioned, there's some tough competition.
All right, the Oilers and Penguins Friday night. Then it's the Canadiens, the Bleu, Blanc, et Rouge Sunday evening. Jack and Bob, as always, have the call for you. I got you covered.
Your parents didn't pay for that, did they?
My French is terrible. I got you covered right here on EdmontonOilers.com.